Two, City Administrator's Monthly Report. Mr. Trout, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. I'm going to go over first some information that was included in the monthly report, review my cover page. This last month, we were excited the Airport Commission recommended Air Choice 1 to provide commercial air service from the Mason City Airport to Minneapolis, Chicago, and St. Louis. The FAA is right now reviewing our recommendation and will contact us with their final decision. The air service to Minneapolis started in November, and the new service is a definite good addition to our available service. The Elmwood St. Joseph Cemetery completed their new cremation garden and their new burial sections this year, and their resales for the grave sites are up 10% over last year. It's been a good push. It's an additional revenue source for the cemetery. Engineering department has completed most of their projects for this year. The few that are not completed have been wrapped up for this year, and the work will continue in the spring. The trails project has some parts to finish, but safety barricades have been put up in place at a couple of locations where they are to be completed. North End project has completed the replacement of the damaged sidewalk between 13th and 16th Street, and the damaged concrete in the paved city parking lot was replaced and the lot was striped. The parking lot lights were relocated and upgraded to LED fixtures, which was a big improvement for that area. The pre-existing gravel city parking lot located at North Federal Avenue and 14th Street Northwest was completely reconstructed with a hot mix asphalt pavement. The new underground conduit was installed prior to the paving, so they'll be able to add lighting to that area. The new bases, poles, and LED lighting fixtures and meter pedestals still need to be installed in the spring to complete the project. Our finance department continues to work on the establishment of the timekeeping system for our hourly staff. The project is coming along very well with parallel testing going on, and with City Hall staff and fire department completed with this last payroll, and the next payroll will have all hourly employees punching in and out and doing both the paper and electronic filing. The go live date for the computer only is scheduled for around the first payroll in July. The street division, the operations and maintenance department had a busy month last month with projects such as grubbing brush and ditches along 12th Street Northwest and Northeast, and grinding stumps. It's important to keep the right-of-ways clear. They continue to replace the railings along Highway 122, and they are prepared by the paint contractor. In November, they worked to get ready, obviously, for our trucks and sanders, and now we're utilizing them as we've had this winter weather. And they nicely hung Christmas decorations when it was about 50 degrees out in the first part of November. Our park department employees have installed a couple of new benches in honor of Janet Burnett and Eladio Robalcaba. They removed the trees located on the north and south side of the Winnebago River at the pedestrian bridge. Staff has also begun installing the new 18-hole disc golf course that utilizes a portion of the flood buyout property along the Winnebago River. Our police officers on first detail have worked with code enforcement personnel to begin notifying property owners of items that they need to be picked up and taken care of on their property. We'll continue to work with those property owners to continue their cleanup in their areas and work with them as the weather improves. Our police department has continued to do extra patrolling during this weather around our school zones to promote safe driving in these areas. I'm going to shift gear a little bit now as we talk about an item very important to the community, and that's our arena project that we have downtown. A citizen asked me today some questions regarding the project, and so I'm going to review a memo that I also forwarded to council earlier today. The city is repaying the bonds that relate to the arena through the utilization of many forms of money. The city is not using property tax measure levy to repay the bonds. The bonds are being repaid by a number of different sources. The project cost, as we submitted to the state of Iowa, was $12,550,000. The cost will be paid in the following ways. We're going to use $3,850,000 in TIF money, $500,000 contribution that we received from Saragota County, $2 million from private funds, which is Mason City Youth Hockey and the fundraising that they intend to do. Local option sales tax is $1.2 million, and then $5 million will come from the Iowa Reinvestment District funds, thereby completing the total funding cost of $12,550,000. In the area of TIF, the city will request TIF reimbursement amounts for the new property value that will be created by the arena, since it is a private project. The estimated increase in the value of the mall once the arena is completed is estimated to be $5,325,000 and $700,000 for the Performing Arts Pavilion. With that $6,025,000 in new valuation, it'll generate roughly $186,775 in TIF funding. That money will be utilized over a 20-year period to generate approximately $3,735,000 in cost. If you remember back to what I said before, we were looking at $3,850,000 to come from TIF. So the new arena itself will almost pay for our part in the TIF. We're just short. We can look at the funding sources available from the reinvestment district to potentially make up that shortfall, or with the way we did the financing relative to the hotel, there will be extra increment there that we can capture if needed, if the reinvestment money doesn't cover there. One thing I've brought up also is that in 2010, the city considered building a multi-purpose arena here. Staff went through a whole lot of work to dig. We visited a lot of facilities, did our research, and came back with a recommendation. We looked at the cost. Cost was excessive. It was in the 8 to 10 million range, and as council had their long discussion and workshop, decided that the only way to fund it was through general obligation bonds, and that to do so would increase the tax levies of our community pretty substantially. So the city council decided not to do it at that time, and we moved on. Well, as you can tell, we're back. We have an opportunity here to fund this without having to sell general obligation bonds and have taxpayers pay what's estimated to be roughly 95 cents to $1.10 additional per thousand of valuation. It's an important factor, as we know, as we look at how we handle our tax and our responsibility fiscally to the community. We found a way through this program to be able to present it without having to raise property taxes. One thing that was mentioned too that I want to cover is that we have clauses in the lease, if you review the lease, that state that if for whatever reason our funding source, i.e. the money we're going to receive from the reinvestment district, doesn't come through for whatever reason, our lease does not require us to still build this mall, or build the arena in the mall. That's there. That's there to protect us because we don't have it yet. We're still working through the process. I guess the last thing that I'll talk to you about is, we are approving setting a hearing date in 2 weeks. Council will come back, listen to deliberation through the hearing process, and consider whether to move forward. I want to tell you, I had a very good, positive conversation with a board member of IEDA on Friday. They know where we're at. They see the good thing with approval of the lease. It's a positive step. It's the largest piece in many cases to accomplish, to have a partner such as this small in order to move our project forward. They urge us to continue with due speed in order to secure a person to be our hotel and to continue to look at our options and develop an option that would be successful. They look forward to hearing what we come up with in regards to that area, and they're willing to consider what we have once we bring it forward. Any questions?
First, good job, thank you. And just a quick point in regards to yourself and the staff this year. You guys have done a tremendous job. This is easily, and I've already told you this privately many times, but this has been the best year we've had in a long time. And a lot of the folks who are sitting right there are a big part of it to put together some of the stuff you guys have done. We've been implementing and executing at quite a pace, which first, good was a tremendous job. Second, one of the questions that I've been getting today, and I get this question, I answer it, but I'm going to ask you for the public, is in regards to TIF. I continue to hear why would we spend that money and hand it over potentially to a New York developer or whoever owns the mall. And the question, and I answer on back, on the honest answer, which is that money would not exist if we did not do the project. Can you explain that? We talk about this a lot, but can you explain that? Take a run at it real quick.
Yes, the value right now on the mall is set at a level which was roughly $4 million. We asked the city assessor, when we do the improvements to the arena, what will the new valuation be? And as I mentioned, it was $5,325,000 of new valuation. That's new valuation that a private person must pay property taxes on. Without the development, the mall still stays at 4 million. So that's why it's called tax increment. That's the difference between the two. What we have is a base with the existing structure, and then what is new with the new development. And without the project, that doesn't exist. It's new tax dollars that are being given to incent the development.
Good answer.
Folks, you have any questions or comments for Mr. Trout? Mr. Schickel?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Brent, for that great report. I'm excited about the potential that this project offers for Mason City, and you laid out some good facts there. I just want to make sure that I understand them correctly. The tax increment, that's the new value, would generate about $180,000 annually, is that?
Correct. Between the arena and the pavilion, those two structures together, over a 20-year period, the property taxes they'll pay an increment is roughly $186,000 per year.
And that's about what the rent is, $180,000.
Correct.
Would that go toward the rent?
That is going to be used to retire the debt. We'll sell the bonds, and then the money that's raised from the increment will be captured by the city and then utilized in order to pay the debt off.
The sublease, you said the sublease would make the operation of the facility, the goal is it would make it revenue neutral?
Right, between the sublease that we would have with Mason City Youth Hockey, our concessions, beer sales, the arena fee that would be charged for each event that would occur there, the performance that we've looked at, the numbers show that we can make it revenue neutral. You know, back when we looked at the original project for the multi-purpose center in 2010, we visited the Waterloo Arena. And the Waterloo Arena is similar in size, similar in dimensions. And we visited with their staff. We had their budget that provided us information on what to expect for utilities, what to expect for revenues, for concessions, beer sales. We found that it's very similar. And actually, we will probably do better because their facility, when it was built strictly pretty much for ice hockey. They have a hard time having other events there. They do have some wrestling events there and so forth, but very few concerts. It's not something that they cater to. Whereas this facility will be set up for that, with the intention that we'll be able to capture that kind of an event on a more regular basis during the off-hockey months.
And the plan is that we're able to finance this with no property tax increase.
Correct.
And if we went to GO bonds, that obviously would be a property tax increase.
This would be a major increase in property taxes.
We're very fortunate to have the potential investment of the state in this. By my calculations, that would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 40% of the cost, the construction cost that would?
Right, for the arena part, yes. And then their money would also pay for actually all of the costs other than $200,000 of private fundraising for the Performing Arts Pavilion, and then also a part of it would be used for the construction of the parking structure.
Thank you.
Hey, Ms. Schickel? Well? Thanks, sir. All right, it's time for the public forum. Mayor and council welcome comments from the public on agenda items only during the public forum. You're asked to give your name, address, the agenda item number, or topic you're referring to on the agenda. Please keep your comments concise, limited to 5 minutes. Clock is up on the right. Mr. Cooney, welcome.
Thank you. Mayor and Council, I'm Shane Cooney, President, Mason City Youth Hockey. I'm here tonight to offer our association's support towards the potential lease agreement that you have on your agenda this evening, which is item number 19. The needs of the North Iowa Ice Association are great and have been well documented. Our ice system is more than 15 years past its life expectancy. We are literally putting Band-Aids on it every week just to get by. Without a complete rebuild, it will most likely fail very, very soon. We're terribly afraid that any moment our system could experience an unrepairable failure that would potentially lead to the end of one of our ice seasons. We're further concerned that if we were to lose a season, we could jeopardize our programs altogether and lead to the end of ice sports in Mason City. We believe in and wholly support the downtown arena plan. We understand that this project would not be possible without the state grant and appreciate the efforts that you all have made to receive it. Our association has made a pledge to the project, and we're here tonight to reaffirm that pledge to support the plan. We believe that this proposal is the last best chance for ice sports in Mason City to relocate to a modern facility. An arena as is proposed would broaden our reach to citizens and youth participation in ice sports and enhance our ability to host events, which would greatly build upon the economic impact that ice sports already makes upon North Iowa. So again, we respectfully ask for your support, not only of the lease as is proposed, but for your continued support of the River City Renaissance Plan. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. If there's other folks, go ahead and just kind of line up there. Mr. Weaver, good evening.
Max Weaver, Merry Christmas, 31720 Southeast. And that's kind of what I'm talking about, a Merry Christmas. Geez, could you find it in you, please? I know I've asked a few council members. Can you put this off? See, for this to work, either way, good government, which we haven't had a lot of this year. I really beg to differ. This has been a great year, Mayor. This has been a rough year on the citizens and certainly on you guys. Can we put this into January? Who wants to go out and get 700 signatures? How many signatures will it take, Brent? You don't know. Anybody know how many signatures it'll take? And do you know what it's going to be? What election are they going to work with? I think the code says not special elections, not presidential elections, so we go back to what, 2015? That's correct? So then do you know how many of that we're going to have, 10%, 15, or 20? Who's going to go out and get that petition just to maybe give the citizens a chance to vote or slow the process down? Or let's talk about them. There's no hurry here. I also talked to IHID. You're not under any timeline here. They appreciate you moving forward. And that's the picture you want to send to them. Do we have to do it over Christmas, 2 weeks over Christmas? Do we? Can we play fair? Table it? Then start this process over on January 3rd, then use that 2 weeks? Hey, the good news could be, Mayor, it could be 30 below by then. Right. So I wish you'd kind of not do that. So I'll move on with what I need to say. I really hope you do that for us tonight, the citizens. It's not right. Seriously. I appreciate what you said, Mayor, about TIF. Of course, TIF, you know, when you read TIF, the chapter in the Iowa Code about TIF, it's supposed to be used in a blighted area. Well, there's nothing blighted about that area. Matter of fact, there's $50 million been spent down there within a football field of the J.C. Penney's, from the remodeling of the Central Park to the streetscape, to Music Man Square. I mean, it's all there. It's not really a blighted area. I don't know how the Department of Justice and the legislators look upon that, but I know they're going to discuss it this year in session about the use of tax income financing. I know all these things you talked about, the 5 mechanisms that are going to support the 13 million, that's just exactly what they do, right on the money. Your first 5 years, you're going to be $180,000 a year in lease payments. You're going to generate $186,000. That's it. It does nothing to talk about the maintenance fees of $30,000, which is going to triple at least. That's one salary person maintaining a 50,000 square foot arena. It's not going to work. The money that's going to take to keep the upkeep, the heat, the utilities, that's got to come from somewhere. There's no free money in America. There isn't. There is no free money. And while I'm at it, I do support an ice arena. I support an ice arena. The arena that you're building now at $13 million is $260 a square foot. That's Trump money. That's Trump money. You can build an arena anywhere from $45 a square foot up to $130 a square foot and get all different kinds of arenas. So we can get an arena. I think Shane Cooney, the same moon speech you gave tonight was the same one you gave back in 2010 or your predecessor. That any time now, this thing's could blow up on us. So that's 7 years ago, 6 years ago. I heard it, I was on the council. Look at what's happening. You're going to have a job, I don't know, Parks and Rec, you're going to give it to the Y. The Y's in trouble financially, that's not working out. You're going to cannibalize the Surf Ballroom, Nyack, and Diamond Joe's with entertainment. 60% of us live under that debt ratio where kids can get free meals at school or deduction. You're not going to be able to go to all the events you're going to put together with this thing with a 3,500 seat arena and compete with everybody else. There's only 52 weekends a year. And so, I mean, you better think twice about it. I personally don't want to be in the entertainment business. Now, here's some numbers. You pay $1,600 a month for your rent right now for Parks and Rec, where you're at, your offices. That's gonna go to $15,000 a month. When the hockey comes in, I believe Shane, I can't get any figures from your group, but I think you rent it for $1,000 a month, the arena out there, the hockey. Hell of a deal, isn't it? You're gonna go to 15 grand too. How does that, come on. We need to slow this process down, be transparent, have some conversations about the fiscal responsibility they're gonna lay on the citizens of Mason City. This whole thing, it didn't work out, didn't pan out in 2011, Brent, as you know. You're covering your front end costs, but all the other costs that are gonna be included, from infrastructure, flushing the toilet, to janitorial, to the bit maintenance, the exterior of the place, down to the interior. And then Michael Cohen, do your research about this guy.
Mr. Rayford.
Please, do your research about this guy. I'd ask you to table this tonight and let us get a chance to breathe through the holidays. This community deserves it after this year. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening.
Mayor, Council, my name is Bennett Smith from Clear Lake. Thank you for your time this evening. I'd like to just briefly comment, if I could, on number 19. I certainly appreciate all the work that people are doing in Mason City in regards to economic development, and I know that folks are doing a lot of work for that. I would just encourage you, though, with this particular proposal, to make sure that you do educate the public as to all of its ramifications, and in particular clarify any opportunities they have to petition. I did look up the Iowa code last night, and one section seemed to indicate there was 30 days for that. I'm not sure if that applies in this case or not. I just want to encourage you again to, as you go forward with this process, to make sure and educate the public about how it's going to work and what the full ramifications are for the taxpayers. And then again, to clarify any opportunities the public has to either discuss it in meetings or to petition so that they clearly understand their rights. And again, I want to thank all of you and wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.